Good evening. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Welcome to BMC News Live in English. I am Vinod Narayanan joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. IGA to add poll streaming and other services to portal. Housing priority for citizens with special need. India extends international flight ban until November 30. The origins of COVID-19 may never be known, US intelligence agencies said. News in detail. IGA to add polls, streaming and other services to portal. The Information and E-Government Authority is enhancing the national portal by adding more services following the launch of the beta version in July. The authority is looking to provide better e-participation by incorporating live streaming of social media in an effective way. IG also wants to make the platform livelier by adding polls, surveys and a blog platform. All government entities will be allowed to manage the blog topics. The tender launched by IG also calls for completing the works in a year time. Nomination for Princess Sabika's Productive Families Award opened. The Ministry of Labour and Social Development has announced the opening of nomination for the 15th local edition and 6th Arab edition of Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa Award for Productive Families. Winners of the award will be announced in March 2022 in a ceremony that will held under the patronage of Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, the ministry said. The award is being organized annually at the local level and every 2 years at the Arab level after the Council of Arab Social Affairs Ministers issued a resolution in 2010 approving the launch of the award at the Arab level to encourage productive families. A 3-day exhibition will also be inaugurated on the sidelines of the award distribution ceremony to showcase distinguished products, encourage owners of home projects and develop talents and skills. Housing Ministry keen to provide sustainable services. Minister of Housing, His Excellency Basim bin Yaqub Al Hammer, has affirmed the Housing Ministry's keenness to ensure that its current and future projects are capable of catering to the service and facilities needs of the beneficiaries so as to provide them with the requirements of decent and quality life. On the other hand, and carry on efforts to achieve the sustainability of housing services. On the other, he pointed out that the government attaches great importance to the environmental aspects in housing projects by allocating green sites and paths in all modern towns, in addition to waterfronts, beaches, and sites to practice various hobbies, noting that the government seeks to enhance sustainable development, citing the Salman town's use of green energy. Housing priority for citizens with special needs. Bahranis with special needs and chronic illness as well as senior citizens should be prioritized during the distribution of housing units, MPs have said. Parliament's Financial and Economic Affairs Committee Chairman Ahmed Al Saloon put forth the proposal which also called for the waiting period for these categories of people to not exceed 5 years. Bahrain strides in upgrading its health pharmaceutical system stressed. President of the Supreme Council of Health, Lieutenant General Dr. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, commended the royal support of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to the health sector. He also praised the directives of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to further optimize health services to achieve the goals of Bahrain Vision 2030. He pointed out the health insurance project and the radical change it requires in the funding, management and governance of the health sector. Capital Governor inaugurated the Colors of the East exhibition as part of the activities of the Manama Entrepreneurship Week. Capital Governor, His Excellency Sheikh Hisham bin Abdurrahman Al Khalifa, inaugurated the Colors of the East exhibition at Sif Mall, held under the title
artistic entrepreneurship and recycling as part of the activities of the Manama Entrepreneurship Week in its 7th edition, with the participation of a number of well-known local and international artists. The governor praised the efforts made by the organizers and artists participating in the exhibition, stressing that encouraging the governorate to hold art exhibitions contributes to developing artistic and aesthetic taste, enhancing the field of artistic investment, exchanging experiences, skills, innovations, and helping to highlight the diverse artistic talents that Bahrain embraces. The exhibition, which represents an openness to diverse experiences as well as encourages artists to showcase their creativity to the public. With the continuation of Manama Entrepreneurship Week activities, many seminars and workshops are held that contributes to exploring opportunities to communicate with local and international entrepreneurs and investors in cooperation with international and local bodies specialized in this field, such as the United Nations Offices, Google Developers Group, the Hope Fund, the Bahrain Institute of Banking and Financial Studies, and the University of Bahrain, William Glaser International Organization, Bahrain Association for the Development of Small and Medium Enterprises, and others. Manama Week targets 7,000 participants from the Kingdom of Bahrain and abroad by holding more than 50 workshops, seminars, and discussion sessions presented by more than 70 experts and specialists in the field of entrepreneurship from the Kingdom of Bahrain and various countries of the world, where the event deals with several redundancies, most notably rebuilding economies after the corona pandemic and making them more sustainable, developing the capabilities of young and motivating them towards creativity and leadership, and creating successful entrepreneurs who contribute to building the nation, its growth and prosperity, with the support of more than 30 destination institutions.
The Paradise on Earth Bird Festival opened. A century-old Bahraini tradition is being revitalized as bird markets reopen across the kingdom following the easing of COVID-19 restrictions. The Paradise on Earth Bird Festival opened near the Arad Fort yesterday and attracted more than 40 breeders, showcasing hundreds of unique birds. Bahrain reports 31 new COVID-19 cases and 65 recoveries out of 16,148 COVID-19 tests carried out on 29th October. 31 new cases have been detected among 13 expats and 18 contacts of active cases. There were 65 recoveries. There are currently 2 cases in critical condition and 5 receiving treatment. 491 are stable out of a total of 493 active cases. Now we will be back after a very short break. Welcome back. India extends international flight ban until November 30. The Indian Civil Aviation Regulator on Friday extended the ban on international passenger flights until November 30, 2021. However, the ban is not applicable to cargo flights and those approved by the regulator, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. All scheduled international flights to and from India were banned from March 2020 following the COVID-19 pandemic. The flight ban has been extended towards the end of every month since then by the regulator. year. However, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has signed bilateral air bubble agreements with several countries. But as per latest reports, travel restrictions may ease soon. Travel restrictions to and from India may ease in the coming days, given the significant drop in the number of positive cases. India's Minister of State for External Affairs, V. Muralidharan, who is visiting the UAE for the 6th ministerial consultation of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue, said that they are hoping that in the coming days, travel restrictions will be eased as there is a significant drop in the new cases in India. India has had some talks and consultations on it on the sidelines of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue, but the formal announcement will come from the other countries involved. Saudi Arabia announces Riyadh's bid for World Expo 2030. Saudi Arabia today announced the capital city of Riyadh's intention to bid for hosting the World Expo 2030 to the Bureau International d'Expositions, World Expo's organizing body. In a letter to the BIE, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, Crown Prince, Deputy Prime Minister and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Royal Commission for Riyadh City, said, "We live in an era of change and we face an unprecedented need for humanity's collective action. Expo 2030 will take place from October 1st to 2030 to April 1st, 2031. The theme proposed by Saudi Arabia is the era of change, leading the planet to a far-sighted tomorrow." Saudi Arabia in talks with car makers on manufacturing plans. Saudi Arabia is in talks with several car makers about manufacturing in the country. Saudi Investment Minister Khalid bin Falih said with an announcement expected this year, the discussions are part of plans to attract foreign investment to support the transformation of Saudi Arabia's economy and diversify it away from oil. UAE urges use of electronic complaint system. The Ministry of Health and Prevention has urged community members to take advantage of the electronic system for reporting healthcare malpractices in private facilities. The e-complaint system makes it easier to decide on medical and administrative complaints about private health facilities and their medical staff. The complainant can track the status and progress of his complaint until the outcome following the end of investigations. The origins of COVID-19 may never be known, U.S. intelligence agencies said. U.S. intelligence agencies said on Friday they may never be able to identify the origins of COVID-19 as they released a new, more detailed version of the review of whether the coronavirus came from animal to human transmission or leaked from a lab. The Office of the U.S. Director of National Intelligence said in a declassified report that a natural origin and a lab leak are both plausible hypotheses for how SARS-CoV first infected humans, but it said analysts disagree on which is more likely or whether any definitive assessment can be made at all. The report issued on Friday is an update of the 90-day review that President Joe Biden's administration released in August amid intense political infighting over how much to blame China for the effects of the global pandemic rather than governments that may not have moved quickly enough to protect citizens. UN aid chief urges G20 to prevent mass starving in Afghanistan. The UN humanitarian chief had a dire message for leaders of the world's 20 largest economies meeting this weekend. Worry about Afghanistan because its economy is collapsing and half the population risks not having enough food to eat as the snows have already started to fall, the Associated Press reported. COVID shots more productive than past infection, study shows. Health officials on Friday offered more evidence that vaccinations offer better protection against COVID-19 than immunity from a prior infection. Unvaccinated people who had been infected months earlier were 5 times more likely to get COVID-19 than fully vaccinated people who didn't have a prior infection. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention concluded in a new study. The study looked at data from nearly 190 hospitals in 9 states. The researchers counted about 7,000 adult patients who were hospitalized this year with respiratory illness or symptoms similar to those of COVID-19. FDA paves way for Pfizer COVID-19 vaccinations in young kids. The Food and Drug Administration on Friday paved the way for children ages 5 to 11 to get Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. The FDA cleared kid-sized doses, just a third of an amount given to teens and adults for emergency use. And up to 28 million more American children could be eligible for vaccinations as early as next week. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan, signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.